voice. Jen's shoulders sagged. The school.
It's going to be a madhouse, so I'd like to get there a bit earlier if we could. Mandy and I planned to meet up so we could go in together.
Jenn didn't know how her daughter did it. How she could be ready to head back into that place so soon. Just the thought of the school, the mere mention of its name, brought vivid images to mind. Images Jenn knew would haunt her for the rest of her life. Thank God Charity would be going to high school in Midland in the fall.
Amanda's going?
Of course she is. There was no reason she wouldn't.
Well, I thought your dad would take you. Didn't he say that? He knows I can't.
Jenn sighed at the dubious look on her daughter's face. Of course he wasn't going to take her.
Mom, you have to drive me. You can do it.
I'm sorry, I don't think I can, Jenn managed to whisper before she took a deep breath and fortified herself. What was it Robert had said to her last night? That people looked up to her, counted on her to be strong. But who would be strong for her? Not her husband. He wanted to pretend it had never happened, burying himself in his work instead of allowing himself to grieve for what they had lost. Her gaze drifted to the abundance of floral arrangements and cards that littered her house. She wanted to throw them all out, rip up the cards she couldn't bear to read with the well-meaning words written on them, and burn them until she choked on the smoke. The grief counselor had told her that one day she'd want to read those cards, that the words written would give her the strength to remember, to get past the nightmare she lived. Soon she'd have to throw out the dead arrangements, the ones that had withered, but even those she couldn't touch. Every time the local delivery man rang her doorbell, she had him place the vases on the foyer table for either Robert or Charity. "How's the muffin?" Jenn changed the subject as she took another piece of her muffin and nibbled on it.
Edible,
Charity mumbled as she reached for her second one. Jenn shook her head, but kept quiet. "Pick your battles," her counselor had said. "Are you ready?" Charity shook her head as she glanced down at the pajamas she wore. "No, are you sure you're ready to go to the school today? I'm sure Amanda or even Principal Stone could gather your things for you."
Mandy's mom says we can either be the victor or the victim. And if we don't face our fears, then they'll soon control us.
Of course Amanda's mother said that. It wasn't her child who had been gunned down and shot at the public school. It wasn't Amanda's mother who had found her son face down in his own blood.
And is that what you're doing? Facing your fears? I'm not afraid of anything.
Charity's head popped up and her chin jutted out. Jenn sagged against the counter and turned her attention back to the scene outside her windows. The water in the bay beckoned her, soothed her. "I wish I could say the same thing," she whispered. She was afraid of everything lately, it seemed. Before the shooting, she knew what she wanted in life. In fact, she'd taken steps to change her life, to be more in charge. She thought about the envelope sitting in her desk drawer and wondered if she'd ever get back to the woman she used to be.
"So, can we?" "Mom. Hello?"
Jenn shook her head and refocused.
"I'm sorry?"
Throwing her hands up in frustration, Charity just frowned and stood there with her hands on her hips. "Right, school. No, I don't think you should go." Jenn filled her mug with coffee, grabbed another muffin, and started to head over to the breakfast nook when her daughter's voice stopped her.
"But Dad said—"
Jenn turned.
"I don't care what your father said. I'm not taking you. If he wanted you to go, then he should have been here to drive you."
She'd had this argument with Robert last night. She'd suggested, instead of going into the office in the wee hours like he normally did to get a head start on work, he should stay home and they would have breakfast as a family. Then they could deal with this if it came up. Apparently he hadn't believed her when she said she wasn't going to drive Charity to the school.
"That's not fair.
You should know by now life isn't fair.
I'm calling Dad."
Charity reached for the phone. "Yes, great idea."